the Torbjörn build, the build for all things sentries. The sentry gun deployable was a generally overshadowed piece of equipment in the past, but now, with the right skills and the right setup, they can be quite a valuable asset to have in any heist. So we're not going to be skimping out on any of the sentry skills. We're going balls deep, gentlemen. And ladies, I suppose. In Technician, we have Third Law, Eco Sentry, Sentry Targeting Package, Jack of all trades, Engineering, and Tower Defense all aced. Gotta beef up our sentries as much as possible. We also have Hardware Expert, Drill Sergeant, and Kickstarter aced. Since this build does have a tendency for the user to become the dedicated objective protector, having skills to make drilling a lot less painful will be handy. In Enforcer, we also have Underdog, Shotgun CQB, Shotgun Impact aced, and Overkill Basic. I will be bringing along a shotgun. Resilience, Shock and Awe, and Iron Man aced. Die Hard, Transporter Basic, gotta work on our survivability a little bit. Scavenger aced, and with the rest of the skills, I think I only have 2, Forced Friendship, and Duck and Cover Basic. For our perk deck, we're gonna be using the Maniac perk deck. Torbjörn's gun has a single shot fire mode as well as a shotgun fire mode. While we don't have a convenient 2-in-1 weapon like that, we can substitute it by having a pistol as well as a shotgun. For our primary, we're using the Reinfeld 880 with the Shark Teeth nozzle, Zombie Hunter pump, Military Laser module, Rubber grip, Extended mag, Short enough stock, and the Shell rack. For our secondary, we're using the White Streak pistol. The one I had equipped for the gameplay I actually can't use right now because one of the mods for it is a community mod and my internet is down, so I can't equip that, but I can still show you the mods. It has the prototype barrel and the IPSC compensator. For our melee, we're going to be using the Carpenter's Delight hammer, Dynamite throwable, primary sentry gun and secondary suppressed sentry gun deployables, and improved combined tactical vest armor. Here we go again, another sentry build. Not gonna lie, the first one was more or less my personal obligation to do a sentry build and to try and make it work, knowing full well that sentries at the time were not something that were very useful. Today, we come here with the complete opposite impression of the deployable. They're so good that watching gameplay with a focus on sentries is pretty boring. Like, for example, this game that I'm showing you guys right now, I basically do nothing but run around and make sure all my sentries are stocked with ammo. Doesn't look like I do much of anything, and truthfully, I really don't. But sentries are such a great area of denial tool that in some cases they're better than human players. That is, at least depending on their placement. As long as you can put sentries in good spots that can do lots of work for you. Normally you want to keep it out of the way of snipers and other long range distances since sentries have a limited range and exposing it is a sure way of having it destroyed very fast. The smart thing to do with sentries is to set them up so that they can protect each other. Like for example, keep them in the opposite side of a room so that if a shield comes in, it can only face one sentry and the other will dispose of it without much effort. You also want to keep them at relatively the same distance apart. Enemies tend to focus down on the sentry closest to them, so if you put one sentry really close to a choke point while another one is really far away, they'll all go for the close one first, which is a sure way of getting it destroyed quickly. These problems aren't too prevalent now though. With the availability of 6 sentries from a single person, the sheer number tends to overwhelm the enemies regardless of these factors. Still, they're just something you should keep in mind. So, there isn't too much of a point in going over what sentry skills to pick up. If you're gonna go full sentries, just pick up the whole engineer subtree. It all helps out in the end. The only thing about sentries that I'm a little undecided on is whether to leave them in regular fire mode or AP fire mode. For shits and giggles, I usually just do both for a symphony of sounds. But normally, I think I prefer leaving sentries in AP mode. It shoots slower, saves more ammo, and it has the ability to pierce shields and such, so the bullets don't go completely to waste when it's fighting a shield. While it doesn't kill as fast as regular fire, when you do have enough sentries deployed, the overwhelming fire of AP rounds will still take care of enemies at a relatively fast pace. I feel like the biggest reason I keep sentries on AP fire though is mostly just to save on ammo. By stacking sentries together, they still have pretty good damage output, and by putting most of them in AP mode, I don't have to constantly replace them as much as if they were in regular fire. Generally speaking, They don't die fast enough to be a major concern unless the sentry gun is alone. So more often than not, the reason why I'm picking back up a sentry is just because it ran out of ammo. Speaking of picking them back up, damn, sentry guns are so good now. Before, they were completely stationary, they had one modifier, and you could only carry 2. They got so many buffs. 2 fire modes, the ability to restock them with ammo, being able to quote-unquote fix them when they're broken, and the ability to pick them up and move them around. By combining the reload, the fixing, and the movement all in one go, sentries are just crazy good. Filling them up and fixing them is very self-explanatory, but even just the ability to move them around is nice. There are quite a few heists where you move positions on the map quite frequently, defending one area and then moving to another to defend a new objective or to escape. The biggest downside though is right now to place a sentry you have to consume a lot of ammo to do so. It kinda sucks when you're only lacking in one thing, like it broke or it only ran out of ammo. When you pick it up, the sentry is treated the same every time, so you have to invest the same amount of ammo for each pickup. So placing them down is a huge investment in terms of ammo from your guns, and sentries definitely need a lot of ammo to be placed down. Between the 2 weapons you can carry, you can only place down 4 sentries. To place the other 2 down, you need to either save up ammo from ammo pickups or go hit up an ammo bag. I would highly recommend playing with people that carry lots of ammo bags on them. It makes your life a lot easier. I guess you could also do it yourself, bring 4 sentries in an ammo bag, or 2 sentries and 2 ammo bags. Of course, you'd have to change up your build to be able to get that, but I feel like it's mostly a waste when you've already fully invested in sentries. Beggars can't be choosers though, so it really just depends on your situation, like who you play with or what map you're on. So, let's talk about the skills we picked up. Like I mentioned earlier, due to the nature of this build, you're generally the guy that sits on top of drills and protects them. I opted to take the full drill kit, decreasing duration, making it silent. I even picked up the skill to hit it and fix it. Though with this particular gameplay, there weren't any drilling opportunities, so I didn't actually get any use. But it's very fun to have on a build, if sometimes a bit frustrating, because you'll hit a drill and it fails and you'll scream to Jesus and ask why he abandoned you. Sentries are really good at protecting objectives, which is the main reason why these skills were required. Like, it doesn't even have to be drills. Take the Golden Grin Casino, for example. With all the sentries you have now, you can split them up so they can defend multiple power sockets that you have to watch, as well as the big fucking drill when it starts going. Or say Framing Frame when you go loud and you have to watch the power boxes and the hacking computer. It just makes defending so much easier when you have not only 3 other players, but also up to 6 more AI helping defend something. For the survivability on this build, I went with a pretty generic armor setup, going with ICTV and such. You're not going to be running around too much, and you'll probably just be hanging by your sentries. The perk deck I'm using is the Maniac perk deck, and there's actually a really good reason why I am. So Maniac in general is a fairly mediocre perk deck. It's not all that great for the user himself, but what makes it really nice is that the effects are shared to all your teammates. So it makes it a very good team support perk deck. But the biggest problem with it is that you can't really get the most out of the perk deck very easily. What I mean by that is the perk deck relies on damage dealt to get the damage absorption it can give. But I find it very rare to actually get the maximum effect from it. It's just not all that easy to get that much damage. Not only that, but this perk deck relies solely on your own damage. You aren't getting help from your team at all. So it's all up to you to dish out as much as you can. But with sentries, you've got another source of damage to help you. Now the damage is coming from a whole lot of other places, on top of the damage you deal yourself. So in essence, it's a lot easier to truly make the most out of the perk deck, and it helps your team in the process. It's a great synergy. I believe this is one of the better setups to go along with sentries because you can bring out the best of this particular perk deck. Plus, in terms of following Torbjörn's character, it's like you're tossing armor packs out to your teammates whenever you kill enemies and pick up their scrap. So with the rest of the setup, I'm packing a backup pistol and a shotgun primary. As a result, I've got shoddy skills with it. The weapons I chose, the Rhinefield and the White Streak, they were chosen mainly because they're decent ammo managing weapons. They kill relatively fast, and they have good ammo pickup. It makes it easy to focus on using just one of the weapons, so you can stack ammo in the other one, and use that to place more sentries down. In the first part of the vid, I also said I would use a hammer for a melee, and while getting the gameplay I completely forgot about that and brought along something else, so That's kind of my bad, but melee isn't a huge focus for this build. So the last thing I wanted to mention is that builds like this may seem boring to play with. Like I said before, I don't really do much anything in the gameplay, and now that we're near the end of the video, you can kind of see that I wasn't really joking. But during the summary screen, you can see that I actually ended up contributing a fair amount to the kills at the end. So even if I was just sitting around, I was watching a whole lot of destruction happening all around me.